Have you ever felt lost, like you've wandered far from where you're supposed to be? Maybe you've found yourself at a crossroads, unsure of which direction to take, weighed down by the choices and burdens of your journey. This is where we find Jacob at the start of this chapter, alone, uncertain, and carrying the weight of his past decisions. He's a man on the run, but also a man on the edge of something new. In this moment of vulnerability, God speaks to Jacob with a loving instruction. Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there and make an altar unto God. It's not just a command, but an invitation to return to a place of encounter and worship. Bethel is where Jacob's journey of faith began, a place of sacred encounter where heaven once touched earth in a dream. It's a place that holds memories of promises and hope. Years ago, God promised to be with him, protect him, and bring him back. Those words shaped Jacob's life, even when he strayed or doubted. Now, God is reminding him of that promise, saying, Jacob, it's time to come back. It's a gentle nudge, a call to remember who he is and whose he is. Jacob's family was in disarray after the events in Shechem, needing a fresh start. Their hearts were heavy, their relationships strained, and their future uncertain. Yet, God calls Jacob back in the middle of his mess, showing us that we can come to God as we are, broken, confused, or burdened. There's no need to have it all together before responding to God's invitation. The instruction to dwell there is crucial. It's about establishing a God-centered life, not just visiting for a moment, but making it a home for faith to grow. This command sets the stage for transformation, not just for Jacob, but for his entire household. It's an opportunity for healing, unity, and a new beginning. It's a journey from chaos to covenant, from fear to faith, beginning with God's call. Every step forward is a step toward restoration and purpose. This is a beautiful picture of God's faithfulness, guiding us back to our spiritual foundations, and reminding us that no matter how far we wander, the invitation to return is always open. Before setting out for Bethel, Jacob paused to consider the spiritual state of his family and those traveling with him. He understood that a journey to a sacred place required more than just physical preparation. It demanded a change of heart and mind. So Jacob gathered his household and gave a clear command. Put away the strange gods that are among you. Purify yourselves and change your garments. This was not a small request. It was a radical call to action, forcing everyone to confront the reality of foreign idols and hidden loyalties in their lives. The act of surrendering these idols was a profound moment of repentance and rededication, a public declaration that they would serve the Lord alone, leaving behind all competing allegiances. Today, we must ask ourselves what strange gods we might be holding on to, whether it's the pursuit of security, the drive for success, or the need for approval, that keep us from giving God our undivided devotion. Jacob's family responded without hesitation, bringing forward all their strange gods and even their earrings, symbols of past allegiances and attachments. Together, they buried these objects under the oak tree near Shechem, making a decisive break from their old ways and choosing a new path. This act of purification was more than symbolic. It prepared their hearts for the journey ahead and for a deeper encounter with God. God honored their obedience, and the terror of God fell upon the surrounding cities, ensuring their protection as they traveled. When we choose to stand for holiness and let go of what holds us back, God provides a covering and protection that we could never achieve on our own. Their obedience and willingness to change paved the way for a safe and blessed passage. This story is a powerful lesson for us today, reminding us that true transformation begins when we are willing to leave our idols behind and follow God wholeheartedly. With hearts cleansed, Jacob and his family arrive at Bethel. Jacob builds an altar, naming the place El Bethel, acknowledging the God of this sacred space. By building this altar, Jacob creates a landmark of faith for his family, saying, "This is who we are." Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, passes away, marking the end of an era. Her death is a reminder that even in spiritual victory, life has seasons of grief. Faith doesn't insulate us from pain, but gives us a place to process sorrow with God. Jacob reconnects with his spiritual roots, resetting the spiritual compass for his family. The altar at Bethel stands as a monument to a God who keeps his promises. It is a place of rededication, where the past is honored and the future is placed in God's hands. This is a turning point for the entire family. It's a journey of remembrance and renewal. After building the altar, God appears to Jacob, affirming his renewed faith. God reaffirms Jacob's new name, Israel, cementing his new identity. Jacob means supplanter. Israel means he struggles with God, a new identity forged in divine encounter. God introduces himself as El Shaddai, the all-sufficient, all-powerful God. He restates the Abrahamic covenant fruitfulness, a royal lineage, and the promise of land. Jacob sets up a stone pillar, consecrating it with a drink offering and oil. This act is one of deep reverence and gratitude, marking the spot of divine encounter. The pillar serves as a witness to God's promises and Jacob's transformation. It was Jacob's way of saying, God was here, and my life is forever changed. This encounter solidifies the transformation taking place in Jacob. It is a pivotal moment of divine affirmation. The journey from Bethel turns to sorrow as Rachel goes into difficult labor. The midwife encourages her, but the birth costs Rachel her life. In her final moments, she names her son Ben-Oni, son of my sorrow. Jacob renames him Benjamin, son of my right hand, signifying strength and honor. Rachel's death leaves a gaping hole in Jacob's heart. He marks her grave with a pillar, a monument of love and grief. This section reminds us that following God doesn't grant immunity from hardship. We can hold both faith and grief, honoring God and our loved ones. The birth of Benjamin is bittersweet, a life that comes at the cost of another. Jacob's story shows us it is possible to hold both faith and grief at the same time. This is the complex reality of a life of faith. As the family settles, the narrative takes a dark turn with Reuben's betrayal. Reuben's act was a profound betrayal, a sin against God and his father. It was a brazen power play, asserting dominance within the family. The text states, and Israel heard it, conveying deep shock and sorrow. The consequences for Reuben would come later, stripping him of firstborn rights. Despite the dysfunction, this is the family God has chosen. These 12 sons are the foundation of the 12 tribes of Israel. God's plan is not thwarted by human failure. The narrative highlights the ongoing struggle between flesh and spirit. God chooses flawed people to demonstrate his grace and redemptive power. This section provides a stark dose of reality. What does this ancient story have to do with us today? At first glance, the journey of Jacob may seem distant, a tale from a world long past. But if we look closer, we find that his story is deeply connected to our own lives and spiritual paths. It is a roadmap for our spiritual journeys, guiding us through seasons of wandering, searching, and returning. Like Jacob, we all walk winding roads, sometimes unsure of our direction, but always invited to draw closer to God. God calls us back to our Bethel, the foundation of our faith, where we first encountered his presence and promises. He invites us to remember those sacred moments and to renew our commitment to him. We must arise and go to the house of God, following Jacob's example of purification. This means preparing our hearts, setting aside distractions, and making space for God to work within us. We must bury the idols that hinder our relationship with God, whether they are habits, fears, or anything that takes his place in our lives. Letting go of these things is an act of trust and surrender. This act of repentance is essential for true worship and intimacy with our Creator. It opens our hearts to receive his grace and to experience transformation from the inside out. Through Jesus, God gives us a new identity, calling us beloved children. We are no longer defined by our past mistakes, but by his love and acceptance. We must regularly return to the gospel truth to remember who we are in him, allowing his word to shape our thoughts and actions each day. Jacob's story shows us how to navigate a life of both blessing and sorrow, reminding us that God is present in every season, through joy and through pain. Faith is about knowing who to turn to in the midst of pain, and trusting that God will meet us with compassion and strength, no matter our circumstances. The journey of faith is imperfect, filled with challenges and doubts, but we serve a perfect and gracious God who walks with us every step of the way. Share this message of renewal and hope, reminding others that God is always calling them back home, offering forgiveness, restoration, and a place to belong.